There are only three places that a piece of paper should live in a PCS student's life. The first is their binder, the second is a drop file at home, and the third is an archive file. Today we're going to specifically talk about setting up a drop filing system at home for your student. I have an example here of a file crate. These are inexpensive. You can get them at most office supply stores, but it doesn't have to be in a file crate. You could put it inside of a desk drawer, you could put it in a portable file carrier, or even a simple cardboard box. If you choose a sturdy cardboard box that copy paper comes in, it actually is the perfect size. But the filing system needs to have these basic requirements. It has 8 hanging file folders, and it's important that these are hanging file folders, not an accordion file, because you actually need them to be able to expand, but you also need it to be simple for the student to be able to take just one file out of their filing system. But they're going to be labeled, one for each of their classes, and then these 2 additional files. One is PCS info, and this is where they put any paper that's related to the school that doesn't relate to a specific class, like the school directory or information on a club or a sport. There's another file called archive, and the archive file we're not going to talk about until the end of the year, but at the end of the year when the students are cleaning out their drop files at home, they will actually be maybe saving a few assignments that they're particularly proud of or research that they've done that they might want to carry forward to another class in an archive. But the design of this basic system is that they would have a hanging file folder, one for each of their 6 subjects. And if you label them very generically, they'll carry over from year to year, like one for science, math, English. Of course, you can add more later as they start to take more electives, but you want to have the basic classes. And the idea is when a student is done with a piece of paper that they've used, that they no longer need right now, they're not going to be tested on it or quizzed on it, they can remove it from their binder, bring it home in a file transport folder, which I'm going to discuss in a separate video, and they can file it into their drop file at home. This way, when it's time for the big final exams at the end of the semester and the end of the year, they'll be able to go back into their file and pull out all of the information that they have for that class so they're able to study for the final, because we don't necessarily want them carrying around all of that paper in their binders and their backpacks, which are already really heavy to begin with, when they may not need it for 2 to 3 months down the road. So it's much better to have this stored at home and only pull it out when it's time to study for those big tests. And as I mentioned, at the end of the year, we'll talk about doing a file clean out where they can get rid of the paper that's in this file at home. And ideally, they would just keep reusing these files year after year as they're a PCS student and beyond. So look for a separate video where we talk about the flow of paper and where we talk about the filing transport system. But this is how you set up a basic drop file system for your PCS student at home.